The Sisters of Dorley. Written by Alyson Greaves. Read by Robin Nolan. Chapter 4. Room and Board. 2019, October 14th. Monday. It's the intercom that wakes him, but it's not shrieking with feedback this time, and the voice that comes out isn't shouting. "Are you okay?" Christine whispers over the speaker. "Don't turn over. We're not supposed to be talking to each other. I've muted the microphone in your room, but the camera is active, which means someone's watching you right now. You're facing away from it. Stay like that." He doesn't want to say anything. After his interrogation at the hands of the blonde woman and a night of some of the worst sleep he's ever had, all he wants to do is lie on the thin, uncomfortable mattress, stare at nothing, and slip in and out of consciousness. Maybe wrap the ugly, scratchy smock around his throat. He's never seriously believed himself vulnerable to dysphoria. He's thought of his body as something he just lives in, worried in the back of his mind that it means he's not really trans. Periodically, he even convinces himself that it means his persistent curiosity about the female experience is nothing more than a fantasy or a fetish. Stefan has never felt so horrifyingly male before. The blonde woman lectured him for what felt like hours. Stefan kept silent as much as he could, but it seemed like it only encouraged her. Stubborn boy, not listening, pathetic, as he was an insect she'd found on the sole of her shoe, and no matter how many times she stamped on him, he wouldn't cooperate and die. She told him he was ugly, violent, dangerous to be around, clumsy, oafish, an affront to grace. She held his name against him with malicious glee, branded him with it, burned it into his skin. She treated his body and his spirit as if they were interchangeable, both of them tainted by maleness, manhood as a weapon, wielded by him against all those around him, manhood as a disease, one he was too weak to recover from, too stupid to even recognize. Over and over again, she put him in his body, exposed it to him, made his very nature despicable. Stefan found it hard, in the end, not to believe her. So many of his own fears, barely articulated until last night, placed in her mouth and spat back at him. He wants out of this cell or out of his body. Either will do. "I'm not okay," he says. "I'm so sorry." Why did she say all those things? She's very angry. At herself as much as you, I think. She hated me. It's not supposed to be personal. It's part of the program here. Think of it like an entrance exam. An entrance exam for what? He raises his voice. He can't help it. If he could shriek loud enough to expel last night from his memory, from his body, he would. He itches in a way that has nothing to do with the smock. "Don't turn over. The camera will see you talking." Stefan freezes, keeps his eyes closed and moderates his breathing, clenches a fist as hard as he can and concentrates on the pain in his knuckles. You can't obsess over your whole body if you're forced to deal with one part of it that really, really hurts, right? An old trick. Stefan wonders, too late, if someone who believes his life hasn't been defined by dysphoria should have quite so many tricks like that. Concentrate. This place, whatever it is, has Christine so scared of being caught talking to him that she ran off again before the blonde woman found her outside his cell. So scared that she's hijacked the intercom system instead of coming down to see him again. Does the blonde woman, or whoever she works for, or whoever she represents, have power over Christine too? "I'm sorry," she whispers over the speaker. "I've made a huge mess." He releases his fist and rolls back over to face the wall again. "What is this place?" he asks. "Long story. Look, I'm going to get you out. Last night made that process a little more complicated than it has to be, but mostly only for me. You should have just had another night of isolation and shit food. A couple days of it, actually. But I think she's accelerated the program, and if she has, she might take you out of your room today to visit the other boys. There are more? Please just listen. If she does, you have to continue to act like you don't know anything. It's awful, I'm well aware, and the other boys, they've all done something. It's why they're here. Sometimes it's something violent, sometimes it's more like social violence. The other boys will think you're like them. Try to roll with it. And the girl who berated you last night, she thinks you're like them too. It's part of why she hates you so much. She thinks I'm violent. Is that why she said all those things? Yeah, I mean, it's because she's also working out some issues, but yes. Why does she think I'm violent? Because you're here. Good men don't end up here. Just go along with it for one more day. But be the bad guy they think you are, and I'll come see you tonight and get you out. I have to go. Just tell me what this place is. It's a long story and I don't have time. I'm still in the program here myself and I have inspection any minute. Sit tight and I promise you'll see me tonight. What do you mean you're still in the program? Stefan says, but the slight hum from the intercom has ceased. She's gone. Tonight's her last chance. The next step after the first session, the debasement that Pippa subjected him to last night, is to introduce him to the other boys. The point is to move fast, to keep him off balance. He'll be shown the locked doors and the bare little dining area and the utilitarian bathroom facilities and made to understand that this will be his home until she says otherwise. And then he'll go back to his cell for one more night to stew, to get scared, to build up in his head the horrors that await him that have been up until this point only artfully implied. It'll be her last chance to catch him without anyone else around. Her last chance to get him out, to lead him very quietly past every lock, erase his data from the system. The implant in his belly will dissolve in a month or so. At most, he'll feel a little bit tired. But Pippa is a problem. If she really is stepping up his introduction into the program, then by tonight he will have seen the faces of all the other men taken this year. He'll have seen the faces of several sponsors and possibly their names, and he'll know the exact layout of the cells and the common area and the bloody utilitarian bloody bathroom. If she'd gotten him out last night, she could have promised him all the answers he wants, snuck him off campus, and told him some half-truths about the program, enough to convince him to stay quiet. Sure, Pippa would remember him, but it's nothing a quick Photoshop job on their internal records and some fast talking couldn't mitigate. There'd have been an investigation, a tightening of security, and Christine would have to back off from gleefully hacking Dorley's network all the time, but she does little with her access except open doors she shouldn't, so no big loss. But now when she gets him out, he'll want to go straight to the police. Armed guards, men kept against their will, a whole underground facility. They look like a bunch of kidnappers. Worse, they actually are a bunch of kidnappers. There's only one solution. She'll have to convince him of the worth of the program before she walks him out. Make him understand it's best for everyone if those boys stay put. God, it's a big sell. Can she even be convincing enough? She believes in Dorley, sure, but does she believe in it enough to make an ironclad case for it? Does she really think every single one of her sisters benefited the way she did? Does she genuinely, in her heart of hearts, believe the boys down in the basement will ultimately be better off? Or are you just saving your own hide, girl? She whispers to herself. Shit. On the screen, Stefan is still facing the wall. He might be shaking. Last night hit him hard, harder than she expected. Even when she saw how hard Pippa was going at him, mostly the boys are indignant, defiant, like she had been. What's different about him? Maybe it's just that he's the first actually good person to be inducted into the program. Well done, Christine. The sound of the door just down the hall from hers opening and closing makes her jump. They're done with Paige's inspection, quicker than she inspected. She shuts down the monitoring software she's not supposed to have and takes stock. Is she ready for this? No more or less than usual. Her room is in a normal state, tidy enough for anyone not pathologically obsessed with cleanliness, and therefore probably due a grudging C or C+ from Aunt B. Her laptop and phone are both innocently idle, all unauthorized software closed and lurking in a hidden partition, and her binder is open on her bed with some of the notes from her last language acquisition lecture facing up, written out in the looping handwriting that Indira, with some exasperation and amusement, encouraged her to adopt. She has to admit, it's more readable than the scroll with which she used to pollute the page. But she's wearing her habitual casual clothes, a loose scoop vest, shorts, and some white ankle socks. That's probably going to lose her some points. Too busy worrying about Stefan to change into something with flowers on. Hopefully the glittery fabric of the vest will be worth something, at least. Too bad she has to go right after Paige. Paige, who already has 30,000 followers on Instagram and a wardrobe full of influencer outfits. Paige, who very nearly graduated early, like Vicky, and was foiled only by a loss of composure near the end of her second year. Paige, who has her blonde hair down the small of her back and a heartbreaker smile. Next to her, Christine might as well be a donkey with a wig on. Just as the lock on her dorm room door buzzes, the sound of someone other than her bypassing the biometrics, she quickly dashes to the cupboard, pulls out her plush pink penguin and her tiny fluffy rabbit and practically throws them at the pillow, adopting a relaxed, innocent, just studying pose mere moments before the door opens and Aunt B strides in, followed by Abby. Christine relaxes slightly. If Abby is acting as her sponsor today, standing in for Indira, this might not be so bad. Christine, Aunt B says, opening the door with a broad smile, of the sort you might find waiting for you in a dark forest surrounded by claws. How are you this morning? Christine ostentatiously puts down her binder and places her land carefully in her lap. I'm very well, Aunt B. Please don't notice the concealer under my eyes, she thinks. Such a shame you're still in your pajamas. Oh, this is just what I'm wearing today. As soon as the words leave her mouth, she realizes Aunt B was actually offering her an out. Oh, yes, Aunt B. I was about to get changed into my prom dress or my pink blouse or my pretty bloody pinafore. You simply caught me in the midst of my morning ablutions or some shit. Too slow, Christine. Rather boyish, don't you think? Christine affects a pout and stands up to look at herself in the full length they have in all their rooms. Do you think so? She says, injecting disappointment into her voice. I was going for playful. A lot of girls on campus wear very similar clothing, Abby says, winking at Christine from out of Aunt B's line of sight. A brave move. It's never been proven that Aunt B doesn't have eyes in the back of her head. I'm sure you're right, Miss Meyer, Aunt B says to Abby, and returns her praising gaze back to Christine, still making a show of inspecting herself in the mirror. You look quite charming, Christine. Thank you, Aunt B, Christine says, hoping a smile of relief passes for genuine gratitude. And Abby gets to be Miss Meyer, does she? The privileges of rank. You've returned to classes, have you not? Yes, Aunt B. First year linguistics. Her second shot at a degree here in Saints. Most girls who return to classes do so in the same subject they initially studied, relying on time, a second puberty, and surgical alterations to avoid being recognized. Not Christine. Computer science was judged to be one of those things she would have to let go. Too much of a contributor to her malfeasance. She's not sure if she misses it or not, and her new courses are interesting. Would you mind summarizing your most recent lecture? Of course, Aunt B, Christine says, bobbing down by her bed to collect her notes. She takes them to the dainty little folding chair by her desk and starts reading through, making sure to gesticulate in an expressive but feminine manner with her free hand, and carefully angling the page so everyone can see how beautifully curly her lettering is. Aunt B listens attentively. She doesn't carry a notebook or a phone or anything else on which to make notes. Nevertheless, Christine can almost see the pen and paper in her head, making delighted check marks or disappointed crosses depending on the performance of the girl in front of her. The custodian of Dorley Hall looks immaculate, as always. Her dress is modestly beautiful, her hair is artfully styled, her makeup is subtle and elegant. How much of the persona she presents to those still here in the program is an act, Christine doesn't know, but she takes it very seriously. In Christine's first year here, down in the basement, the boy who is now Jody Hicks called Aunt B a MILF to her face and earned a week back in the starter cell. Christine's always wondered if she still holds it over the poor girl. Jody has the first room on their floor, so she's always first in line for a monthly inspection. Did Aunt B look her up and down in the morning and ask, in her prim and proper pronunciation, "Do you still consider me a mother you'd like to F-U-C-K, girl?" Christine's never considered the acronym appropriate anyway. She can't imagine Aunt B doing something so vulgar as fucking. Christine, are you still with us? Oh, sorry, she glances over her notes and buying some time to come up with an excuse for zoning out. I was just remembering something the lecturer said, Aunt B, something funny. That's quite all right. Aunt B generously allows. I'm pleased to see you absorbed in your studies. Would you mind repeating the joke? Assuming it is appropriate, of course. Yes, right. Christine racks her brain. It was, Are you familiar with Lad Bible? It's an obnoxious Twitter account that reposts other people's videos and jokes and gets into trending a lot. Well, the lecturer, Professor Coleman, he said that Chomsky's concept of the language acquisition device is heavily contested and is considered very much outside the norm these days. And he said those who stand by it without sufficient evidence, I quote, preaching from the lad Bible. We all laughed. Christine holds her breath. The story's true, except the students receive the joke with the grim silence it probably deserved. She has neither the energy nor the nerve to lie creatively right now. I see. Well, thank you. Behind Aunt B, Abby bites her lip to stay silent while her face creases up, and Christine has to look back down at her notes to maintain composure, so she misses it when Aunt B reaches out, almost jumps when she cooks a finger under her chin and lifts her face. Let me look at you, girl. Levity forgotten, Christine's skin crawls and she struggles against the urge to screw her eyes shut. This is the worst part. She didn't ask for this body and now she's being judged on her upkeep of it. You have beautiful skin, Aunt B says, although you should really try to get more consistent sleep. Drink more water perhaps, or get better with concealer, Christine says, taking a risk, hoping Aunt B would take it as a mild joke. She does. Or smiles, at least. Christine thinks she appreciates the effort more than the result. Quite. Gentle pressure on the back of her neck urges her to stand. She does so, and Aunt B moves her hand to Christine's shoulder and pushes lightly, encouraging her to turn around to give the woman the full 360. When she has to, Christine can move her body like a dancer. Beautiful. Your mannerisms have come along wonderfully. Thank you, Aunt B, Christine says. Her voice doesn't shake. She's asked herself how she feels about what was done to her, whether she approves the changes that eventually she agreed to participate in. One night, early in her second years, when she was still developing, she investigated herself. Lying in bed, she raised elegant hands to the starlight and winked out the heavens. Finger by finger, she stretched out the legs, hip to toe. She explored her small breasts and her arched back. She hadn't really explored her new body before, merely inhabited it, tolerated it. That night, alone in her room, one finger at a time, Christine discovered herself. She likes who she is, genuinely. Not just her new shape, but her new mind, too. Christine is a better person to be around and a more enjoyable person to be than the boy who woke up in cell 1 over 2 years ago. At the critical point when she was given the choice they all were, to accept the program or to wash out, when she properly examined what she was being offered, she took it without hesitation. That boy was miserable. That boy hurt people. The boy ultimately had no future. The girl, the woman, is someone new. Someone better, and she's her creation, the sum of her choices, and the life she now lives is hers alone. They might have given her the map, but it was Christine who made the journey. But it's hard to remember all that when Aunt B has her hand on her. It's hard to forget how angry she was to be caged. Get dressed, Stephen Riley. Stephen hadn't noticed the blonde girl woke up. Hadn't even noticed the glass door opening and closing, but now, on the floor by the cot, there's a pile of clothes. Workout stuff, by the looks of it, loose joggers and a hoodie. Had he been asleep, or had he just zoned out that hard? Something about the last day, be it the isolation, the strange hours, the complete collapse of his identity, or the hope, yes, the hope that enough of what he suspected is actually real enough to help him if he can just decipher this place, has obliterated his coping strategies. Boredom, fear, terrified optimism, and abject self-loathing mixed together, leaving him adrift and losing time. He makes a fist again, out of sight of the blonde girl. Wake up, Stefan. Pull yourself together. Christine said he was going to be introduced to the other inmates, yes? Maybe he'll finally get to find out what happens here. He swings himself off the cot and looks pointedly at the blonde girl. A little privacy, he says. She smirks. You have nothing I haven't seen before. At least he can turn his back, but he still feels her eyes on him as he pulls off the smock and starts getting dressed. There's a t-shirt in the pile. He can hardly put it on fast enough. Even under the best of circumstances, Stefan does not enjoy being naked. Socks go on last. He doesn't really mind his feet being on show. Toenails could use a clip though. Before I open this door, she says, there are some things you must know. 1. Every woman you see is armed, including me. 2. Our tasers are locked to us and us alone, useless to you. 3. All the doors are locked and this whole area is monitored remotely. 4. If you are compliant, you'll be rewarded. And 5. Violence against our staff will not be tolerated. Every year, there are washouts. Those who wash out are never heard from again. Attempting to hurt any of the women in this institution is the quickest way to wash out. If you have aspirations to one day see the sky again, you will be docile and you will follow instructions. Say you understand and agree. Christine said over the intercom that he should be the bad guy everyone else will think he is. But how would a bad guy even behave in this situation? Yell and scream, bang on the glass door, try to disarm someone? Unattractive options, and someone could get hurt. Aren't bullies known to back down at the first show of strength? He'll be that guy. He'll back down. I understand and agree, he says. He doesn't have to fake his nervousness, at least. The blonde girl smiles. Welcome to Dorley Hall, Stephen Riley. Dorley Hall, he says, remembering to feign ignorance, as the door buzzes and slowly swings open. On the edge of campus? Under it? He steps out into the corridor. The blonde girl and the 2 others who are with her, tasers held casually in their hands, he can't help but notice, put their backs to the wall and give him space, like they think he's going to attack them. They indicate for him to walk past, to lead the way, and so he does, hands in the pockets of his hoodie, broadcasting an absence of hostile intent as hard as he can. He really doesn't want to get tased. After what seems like forever, Aunt B finally congratulates Christine on her dedication and her steady progress and, with a slightly acerbic eye aimed at the untidy pile of textbooks by the desk, leaves. But Christine and Abby hold their breath. They're waiting for her footsteps to fade, waiting for the buzz of the biometrics at the end of the corridor, and when it finally comes, they almost collapse. The tension exits her body along with all of her air, and Christine laughs until her chest aches. Oh my god, Abby wheezes. She sits heavily on the folding chair and takes her glasses off to clean them. The pajamas thing. I thought she was going to make you strip there and then. That'd be nostalgic. I almost pissed, Christine says, falling backwards on her bed and narrowly missing her laptop. Thanks for the save, by the way. I think it helped that I'm literally having a slob day. Abby pulls on the fabric of her loose yellow t-shirt. It says St. Almsworth Hockey, Go Saints on the front, and her dark skin shows through in several places where the much-loved t-shirt has become threadbare. Hard to get in your case for not being feminine enough when I'm wearing this. Christine sits up, puts on her best lecturing face and wags a finger. You're setting a bad example for the younger girls, Abs. A giggle breaks through her stern frown. How we learn to dress like princesses and dance like angels when you keep reminding us of the existence of full contact sports and, she fake gasps, t-shirts. Just be glad Liz isn't here or you know Aunt B would have picked her instead of me. Melissa had been the star of her graduating class. Too damn pretty and too damn well dressed for her own good. Or to be precise, for the good of every girl around her. It's not fair, Christine says. I can be pretty. I can wear nice things if someone else picks them out for me. I even kind of like it. She sags as her mood collapses. I don't like doing it for her. Hey, Abby says, picking up the folding chair and moving it closer so she can take Christine's hand. Unlike with Aunt B, this is a contact Christine doesn't shy away from. You're doing great. Not long to go now. Then you can be pretty when you want and slobby when you want, just like me. Christine squeezes her hand. I'm going to be like Paige and Melissa. Perfectly pretty all the time. I'm going to be so annoying. I believe it when I see it, Abby says. She hooks her other arm around the back of Christine's head and gently draws her closer. Their foreheads touch together for a moment. I'm proud of you, she whispers, and I know Dira is too. Closing her eyes, Christine absorbs Abby's touch. Abby, Indira, Vicky, and Paige, Christine feels indecently lucky. Their friendship, kindness, and patience all seemed like things that she hasn't entirely earned. If she has to live by Aunt B's strictures for another year, well, perhaps it's a small price to pay if she gets to stay with the first true friends she's ever had. And her third year at Dorley has been, by far, the least onerous. The relatively casual monthly inspections are preferable to the constant moral and physical inventory she was required to maintain in her second year. A shame she can't be like Vicky, released from the program a year early and granted the same level of trust as Indira, Abby and Melissa. Trust she immediately started abusing with Christine's help to supply HRT for her girlfriend. But with Vicky, it had been as if the program simply discovered the girl who's been inside her all along. Christine had to go looking for hers. Abby lets go of her hand and sits back. Christine instantly misses her. "How's Dira?" Abby asks, reaching over to Christine's desk and stealing one of her bottles of Evian. Christine raises an eyebrow and holds out a hand, refusing to respond until Abby hands her a bottle. Aunt B's orders, after all. She cracks the bottle and takes a swig. She's good, down in London for an audition and visiting family. "God," Abby says, "imagine being cleared to see your folks." "No, thank you." Indira's parents and older sister were a little under a year ago, and after extensive lobbying from Indira and several other sisters, visited by an associate of Aunt B's and encouraged to believe that their son had always been a trans woman, who chose to disappear because she feared how her family would react to her transition. As a friend, the associate explained, they were willing to act as a go-between on Indira's behalf and perhaps arrange a meeting in a neutral location, somewhere safe for their first time seeing their new daughter. At the meeting, her family embraced her with open arms, scolded her for vanishing for years and giving them the shock of a lifetime, and dragged her back home for a whole week, culminating in a party to which they invited several of the Dorley girls, as well as, seemingly, the entire street. It had been Christine's first trip outside of Saints as her new self, and the first time she'd felt like she might be able to make it in the world as Christine, after all. Indira's sister took them both out for clothes shopping for something to wear to the party. Christine keeps hers safe in a dress bag in the back of her wardrobe, a memento of one of her first genuinely good memories. "Visit any time," they'd said. "You don't miss your parents?" Abby asked sarcastically. She knows she doesn't. "Mine aren't like Dira's." "Are anyone's?" Abby says with a giggle. "Did you see her on the news last week? Indira's mother, now a minor social media celebrity thanks to her enthusiastic and public support for her younger daughter, has been on Channel 4 News twice in the past year, once for an interview about her mother-daughter reconnection, and most recently to provide a counterpoint to some new gender-critical celebrity on a post-cancellation media tour. Dira proudly sent Christine a screen grab of her mother in the chair opposite Krishna Guru Murthy with the strapline, "Asha Shetty, Twitter mum and trans rights activist." "Yeah, we had it on in the common room on 3rd. She's just fantastic." Abby bites her lip. "So, did you get the latest update pack on your family?" "About a month back." Christine gestures at a folder on her desk. "I don't open them anymore, though. They're all the same. Dad's still sick, Mum's still caring for the old bastard, no contact with the authorities. It'd be nice if they acted like they cared I'm gone, you know? Just a little bit." Abby reaches out, takes Christine's hand again. "How about you?" "They're still looking for the old me. They've got a private detective and everything. I've asked Aunt B if her contacts, 2 manicure fingers, make an air quote, can put out feelers, assess their mood. She said she'd think about it." "You're thinking of doing a Dira?" Christine asked, surprised. "Is this going to be a thing from now on? Dorley graduates getting back in touch with their families?" "Maybe. I don't know. I'd like to. I'm sure they'd be okay with it. With me." Abby sighs heavily, scrunches her fingers up in Christine's. "I'd hate to have to lie to them all the time, though." "Not about who I am. You know how I feel about that." Christine nods. Abby's thoughts on gender have very much influenced her own. "But where I've been and stuff. I can't say I've been here all the time, right? Even Indira had to pretend she spent a year couch surfing, and Aunt B's worried about bringing too much attention down on us. Better to lie than never see them again, right?" "Yeah, right. How's work?" Christine says to lift the mood. Abby's worked for the local paper for a couple of years, which is why she still lives at Dorley Hall and picks up some extra cash part-timing as an administrator for Aunt B. Whoever owns the Almsworth Gazette clearly believes young journalists need experience and exposure more than food. "It's good," Abby says, smiling again. "I pitched a piece about deep diving into the pay dispute at the council. You know, the history of low wages, understaffing, inflation reducing the actual pound value of the work year by year." She pauses, builds up anticipation. She said yes. "Oh my God," Christine yells. Abby's been trying to get her byline on something for a while. "Congratulations." They hug, and Abby fills in a few more details, including the interviews she's lined up with various local notables. "Actually," she says, "about the paper, I wanted to ask you a favor." anything. You can still get at things you're not supposed to, right? On our network? Yes, Christine says, grinning, but shush. There's a new boy, right? Downstairs? Do you have his profile? I want to keep us in the loop if he gets reported missing and we hear something at the Gazette. Christine nods, freezing her smile in place while her heart sinks. She calls up Stefan's information on her laptop, using the app she's shown to a select few of the sisters, the one that she implies she only has access to the less vital files. There he is, Stefan Riley. Still looks kind of sweet. Christine swallows against the guilt. You're kidding. Abby says, Christine, you're sure it's this guy? 100%. Fuck me, Chrissy. That's Melissa's friend. You're not serious. The kid? The one she always talks about? He did say he was looking for someone. Melissa? Damn it. The timeline works out, doesn't it? Melissa was getting to leave Dorley while Christine was in the first year of the program, so she doesn't know her particularly well. They've barely talked, and when they have, it's been awkward, like last year's disaster of a Christmas party. When a drunk Christine spent half the conversation calling her Sabrina, Melissa looks a lot like the girl from the 90s version of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but Abby stayed in touch and talks about her a lot. She always said he was the sweetest kid ever, Abby says. Said he wouldn't hurt a fly, even if the fly wore a kick-me sign and peed in his cereal. What happened to him? What did he do? Do you want me to try and find out? No, Abby says, closing the laptop. No, I'm not his sponsor, and neither are you. Whatever he's done, whoever he's become, that's what we're here to fix, right? Right, Christine says, as pouring as much enthusiasm into one syllable as she can muster. Shit.